Hey, what's going on, guys? Shitty here. I'm kind of crouching a little bit because I can't really tell if the camera's facing me or not. I'll have to turn on the light. That might happen. Yeah. But yeah, I'm back here playing Half-Life Alyx again. This is my second playthrough. I'm sorry if I don't sound great. I'm using this clip-on mic because it's VR and I can't really use my Oculus. I think it's a whole mess. It took me forever to get this shit set up. Like I've been sitting here for the past half hour trying to get it all set up. Because I'm using two PCs and it's VR and it's Oculus. It's just complicated. But here I am using this clip-on mic. I'll try and hopefully it sounds okay, but I'll find out when I'm editing. But I've already played Half-Life Alyx. It's actually on the channel. You can go find it. I don't know if I'll put this second playthrough in a separate playlist or if I'll put it in the same one. I'll probably end up putting it in the same playlist. But yeah, basically I finished playing all the Half-Life games. This was actually the first Half-Life game I ever played, Half-Life Alyx. I played it back in I think it was 2020, 2021. Maybe it was 2022 actually. Yeah, I think it was 2022. So last year sometime I played it. And I played it because I got my Oculus and I was just really excited and I really wanted to play a VR game. And I heard that this was like the best one available, or one of the best ones, and probably the best one. And so I figured, why not go ahead and try to play it? And I really love this game. It was a great game. And that's why I want to play it again, just to kind of get back into the experience of it. And I also want to go through because after I played it, I went through and I played Black Mesa and Half-Life 2, all of Half-Life 2 and Episode 1 and 2, and I really enjoyed those games, especially Half-Life 2. I actually really enjoyed it, and I do feel bad for those of you who have been stuck with the series all throughout, because holy shit, they left that shit on a cliffhanger, didn't they? But I want to come back and play this not only, like I said, because I enjoy it, but also because now I'm a bit more familiar with Half-Life. I didn't know anything about Half-Life before I played Half-Life Alyx. I just jumped in, wanted to get to the VR game, and I ended up really enjoying it. And now I'm more familiar with the characters, more familiar with the universe, and so now I'm trying to play it again. Because like I said, it was a game I loved. Sorry if the camera angle's not great when you're seeing me in VR, but I wanted to include webcam so you can see my goofy fat ass fucking flail about in like the 5 feet I have to myself. But yeah, let's go ahead and start it. Oh, there's add-on maps. Oh, okay, that's a workshop thing. Okay. I was gonna say, I'll do some add-on maps, but they're not here yet. That's probably like mods and stuff. I might actually check that out. But for right now, let's go with the original game. Yeah. Movement. Yes. Fast linear movement. I think continuous is what I want, where I can move with my. Okay, let's up the difficulty too. I played both the other Half-Life games on hard, so let's go ahead and up this one too. Do I want commentary? I kind of do, because I've already played the game. But I think I will. Fuck it. This is my second playthrough. Like I said, you can go through and watch my first playthrough. It's actually on the channel. But for right now, oh shit, wrong. Watch my first playthrough. Motherfucker, I put the wrong one on again. There's the right one. Jesus. Like I said, you get to see my fat ass stumble around and try and do shit. I do not want these flying off. Alright. Yeah, you can let me know if you want that off, but... Okay. Let's get started. I might turn off the developer commentary if it gets, like, annoying or whatever, but... turn it on at least at the start. See if I like it, what happens. Also, I'm wearing a beanie because I like it. It's 5 years ago the Black Citadel and the death of Eli Vance. Oh, okay, so this takes place 5 years before the events of episode 1 of Half-Life 2. Oh yeah, she's only 19. Wow, she's pretty fucking young. Human resistance. Okay, so that means she was 24 in Half-Life 2, I think. So she was my age in Half-Life 2. I'm 24. I'm gonna be 25 this year. Okay.
Hi, my name is Gabe Newell, and welcome to Life Alyx. To say this product was a challenge would be an understatement. It's our first Half-Life title in over 10 years, and it's our first one in virtual reality. In addition to it being a great VR experience that still felt like a Half-Life game, we wanted Half-Life Alyx to serve players who've been waiting to find out what happens after Episode 2, and at the same time, provide an on-ramp to anyone who hasn't played a Half-Life game at all. Ultimately, whether we succeeded in any of that is up to you to decide. But hopefully, this commentary mode will give you some insight into the set of problems we faced and how we chose to tackle them. To listen to a commentary node, pick up the floating hologram of a radio headset in front of you and simply put it on your head. Once you're done listening to the commentary, you can take the radio headset off or simply put on the next one. Please let me know what you think. I can be reached at gaben@valvesoftware.com. While I'm unable to reply to all the emails I receive, I do read them all, and they're a critical part of the feedback we use to evaluate our work. Thanks, and have fun.
Ooh, thank you, Gabe. Can I do a thumbs up? Yeah. There we go. Let me actually returning. I want a continuous turn. I don't like the snap turn. Yeah, that's what I want. Because I also can just turn my head. Okay, good. They're optional, so I can just skip them if I don't want to listen to them. But I actually probably will listen to them. Also, one thing is, if you go back and watch my first playthrough of this game, one thing that happened was, well, there were a lot of things that happened, but one of the big things was there were missing textures, and I thought that was just normal. But it wasn't until I watched other people's playthroughs that I was like, oh no, my texture was just missing. So I ended up upgrading my GPU just to play this game. And it was worth it, I'm not gonna lie. But, yeah. This time though, not only do I have to upgrade GPU, but also I'm doing all the recording on a separate PC, so I don't have to worry about the extra stress of recording on that one. Oh my god, this game looks beautiful. Ooh, look at that bird. Go ahead and listen to this while I'm looking around.
As in the case of any Half-Life game, the first hour of Alyx must convey a lot of information to the player, hopefully in a natural and entertaining way. Players need to know who they are, where they are, what kind of world they're in, who the other important characters and factions are, and so on. At the same time, they need to learn how to actually play the game. How do they move? What can they interact with and how? What should they be trying to do, etc. Figuring out exactly what information we would try to convey in these first two levels, and how it would be conveyed, took us over 2 years of playtesting. It's tempting to try and include everything we think a player should know, but all information has a priority, and the more we include, the more chance there is that a player misses something important because they're distracted or confused by something less important.
Yeah, like my dumbass trying to punch glass.
So over the next two levels, we'll use commentary nodes to point out some of the specific places where we grappled with conveying information to the player. In between these nodes, you'll likely be able to spot many other examples for players to find, if they're interested in paying closer attention and understanding more.
Oh, okay. Cool. That would actually help me out, because I do want to notice more. Like, not only do I just play the game, but I actually do want to see a lot more. Holy shit, man. This game, compared to Half-Life 2, like, obviously this came out way later. Like, this came out, 2019, I think? 2020? So yeah, it came out, like, almost 15 years after Half-Life 2. So it's not a huge surprise that it looks this much better, but oh my god, it's fucking beautiful. Like, look at this. You guys can't see it, but because I'm playing on the Oculus, I have like the red lines. I don't think you guys can see it. Yeah, you should be able to. But there's like red lines whenever I start to go out of my bounds. which is good. So that way I have less of a chance of hitting something and knocking some shit over. This is water flavor. What's that? Desiccated sustenance bar. Water flavor, 100 grams. I want to play more VR stuff too. Like there's a new FNAF game. I don't know how much like the Half-Life fans are into FNAF, but they announced the second one, and I played the first one, and I've watched it, and it's so good to me. I really enjoyed it. Citadel Vista. Oh wait, is that the Citadel? Or is this a different Citadel? Actually.
One of the pieces of important information we struggled to convey was exactly when Half-Life Alyx is set within the series timeline. Whilst we tried to reflect it carefully in many of the world details, it was never 100% successful during playtests. Eventually, we decided it was too important to be left to the players to figure out, and so we put it in our opening text crawl. The Citadel's incomplete state did provide us with an early opportunity to reinforce the timeline visually.
Also, the Citadel
Half-Life Alyx takes place 5 years before the events of Half-Life 2, in which the towering Citadel represents the Combine seat of power. As we see here, however, early Combine infrastructure is a cluttered mess of cables and unusual structures sprawled all over the city, surrounding the Citadel's construction, and served as a useful indicator of the time frame. We went on to reinforce this impression in other places throughout the following level. Combine architecture tends to be abstract in scale and form, so we included some familiar visual cliches of human construction. The large external scaffolds, some distinction of floor levels, rows of small lights, and the tidying of the silhouette into more structured vertical elements try and strike a balance between capturing the alien nature of the Citadel whilst grounding its construction in enough familiarity to better understand its size and state. Large, sweeping vistas such as this one proved an interesting challenge in virtual reality. Their distance from the viewer means they don't benefit from stereoscopic vision the way that small close-up objects do. Because of this, the small objects on the balcony often draw the attention of the players before they've even noticed the imposing structure in the distance. If we moved the Citadel too close, it felt absurdly huge and difficult to take in. Yet placed alone on the horizon, it felt two-dimensional and flat. We found the solution in filling the space between the viewer and the distant structure with many scale references. The city itself, huge supply cables leading towards the vanishing point, large repeated Combine buildings, heavy pollution fog, careful lighting, and all the animated elements, especially the helicopter whose sound begins in the fade-in. All these were carefully composed to help draw the attention of the player to the Citadel first, before letting their attention wander to take in the details of the city, and settle ultimately on the inviting items here on the balcony.
Because, like, I think legit, I walked up and I was like paying attention to these. I was looking around there, but I was like, I started fucking around with these. Oh, there's a Combine soldier up there. Or soldiers down there. Yeah, huh? Like I said, I definitely could see how, like, someone actually told me that one of the, I think it was the designer of Dishonored 1 or 2. Dishonored 2 is my favorite game of all time, by the way. I love the Dishonored franchise and I want another game. And a VR game would be amazing like this. A Dishonored game VR, oh my god. I love the Dishonored franchise, but I was like, man, Dishonored seemed to really take a lot of inspiration from Half-Life, because there's so much shit here in Half-Life that look like this level looks like something that would be in Dishonored 2. So, like, I'm sure Dishonored took a bunch of inspiration. And Arcade is... Oh wait, no, never mind. I was thinking something else. Okay. But I actually can see the textures this time. Hang on, Eli. Yeti. God, it's hard to tell exactly how far away I am from the window. Was here. There you go. Hey.
Alex!
What's up, Elon?
How's it looking up there?
Pretty
It's good, Dad. Metrocop movement is normal. Same for the Combine
I wish the
patrols.
subtitles weren't like
How's it
right
going
in
in
the
the
center of my
stockyard?
fucking screen.
One Combine mini reactor from a shipment of 4,000. They're never going to miss it. Here, see for
Because if
yourself.
I look up like this at the screen, they're like right in the fucking screen.
Not only that,
I don't know if they're like that in
to
the
the
VR.
Combine Construction Network.
Don't get greedy, guys. We're not made of time here.
1 minute and I'm out, guaranteed.
Oh, also, I spotted the Combine moving supplies into the quarantine zone. That place has been deserted for years.
That is odd. Well,
What?
we'll look into it when we get back.
What is this?
Meet back at the safe house, baby. We'll be there soon.
It looks like...
What is it, Russell?
Look like
Would
what?
you? Terrific.
Great. Another thing I want to know, was Russell in Half-Life 2? Because I don't remember ever seeing him. He probably was at some point, I don't know. But I'm just wondering, why would they use Russell instead of, say, Kleiner or something, you know? I really like Russell. I'm not saying I wish he wasn't in the game. I'm just saying, like, given how iconic Kleiner was, I'm surprised he wasn't here instead of Russell. Then I guess we have to call the gloves the Kleiners, and that doesn't sound very good.
In these first areas of the game, we grappled a lot with the density and prioritization of the information we were conveying to the player. Playtesting showed us that players in VR were easily distracted, often due to better peripheral vision, such that they'd focus on
Yeah.
one scene element while
You can
losing
kind of
track
see that
of
with
others.
me right now.
This was exacerbated in these first rooms because players were acclimatizing to being in VR, often for the first time. In addition,
was my
different players
first game
progress
in
at different
VR that I
speeds.
played
We saw
before.
some players spend 30 seconds on the opening balcony and others 30 minutes. As a result,
Hit this
we
wall.
did a lot of iteration over the set of opening areas, each time changing what information we tried to convey and where. Initially, the video call from Eli took place in the later refuge room with the Snarkin camcorder, but players were often too engrossed in interacting with all of the detail in that room to pay attention to the conversation between Eli and Russell. We moved the video call out to the starting balcony, but there it distracted from the establishing shot of City 17 and the Citadel. It also came at a time when players were still figuring out core game elements like movement and hand interaction with the world. That
Yeah, I can see
collision made
that.
simple things hard, like when to show the player a movement tooltip if they immediately started the video call. Eventually, we settled on inserting the greenhouse between the starting balcony and the refuge, which allowed us to move the call to an area with a slightly obscured vista and fewer interactable objects. This avoided the distraction problems and ensured players were past the initial gameplay
Safety.
moments of figuring out their hardware and movement setup. It also had the bonus of allowing us to add further detail to the opening balcony and Alex's refuge without fear of creating distractions from the video call.
The only thing that I find kind of disappointing about the commentary, I actually find it really interesting, but I was hoping it'd be more like raw commentary. Like, it's obviously very scripted the way they're talking. It's like they're just reading off the script. I was hoping it'd be like it was the developers just sitting around talking about it, just similar to a movie commentary. That's what I expected, where they're just sitting around like just almost like a podcast, just sitting around shooting the shit, talking about the parts of the game. But that's okay. It's still interesting to know. Okay. Yeah, this playthrough might actually be longer than my first one, because I might spend a lot of time listening to the commentary. Although, let me know if you want me to keep hearing the commentary, because I might cut that out or something, because I want to hear it, but you guys might not want to. Oh yeah. And I'm playing it on hard this time. I think I played it on normal before, I think. Oh my god! That's a fucking strike. Wow, that was awesome. That's cool. I didn't think about striders being used like that, of them being used as like almost like a moving scaffold, or a moving, like, ladder, I guess. I don't know. That's what it seemed like it was doing. Those fucking things. They're blind and shit.
Beyond conveying critical information about the state of the world, the first two levels of Half-Life Alyx also needed to demonstrate some of VR's strengths. Conveying a sense of scale is something VR does much better than flat screens.
I do
and
agree
our
with
early
that.
playtests showed us that nothing
that
quite
scale?
sold that scale
Crazy.
more than seeing a Strider up close. In addition to the visuals, to fully illustrate the scale of a Strider at close range, we needed to do a lot of work on its audio treatment. Players had strong expectations about feeling the weight, power and presence of the Strider through its movements, particularly as it stepped on the balcony the player was occupying. In order to convey this power through sound, we layered multiple sound effects, allowing us to address ranges in the audio frequency spectrum and the temporal nature of those elements separately.
Bird. Huh. Cool.
We then combined those elements in the Source 2 audio
it's still
engine
going.
to control them as one sound.
Yeah, I heard that they're making a sequel to this, which I'm really excited for. Because I'm a new Half-Life fan. I'm not an OG like a lot of y'all are who watch my videos, but I'm a new Half-Life fan and I really enjoy the series. I was hoping to make it. Hang on. Can I make it onto this balcony? I made it onto that one, that's close enough. Oh! I remember seeing this on my first playthrough, but now I recognize it. These are the little fuckers from Black Mesa. I remember it. I don't think I can take it. I probably don't want to. But I remember it was like my favorite throwable. You would throw it and it would just go and attack the wall, but it would also attack me if it didn't have anything to attack it. But I love them.
This room, internally referred to as Alyx's Refuge, was initially the location where the Eli video call took place. However, once that video call was moved out to the balcony, this room was freed up to solve other problems. In the Half-Life series, we've always tried to ensure that there's generally enough narrative for all players to understand where they're going and why, but for players who slow down and pay attention, there's more detail that can lead to a greater understanding.
That's my
With the
ideal
balcony
type of
being a
game.
place to get familiar with the game's
terms of the
inputs,
story.
the greenhouse being where the story kicks off, and the Strider there to surprise players with spectacle, we decided that the Refuge could be a quiet moment for players, where they could discover more narrative detail in the environment. At the same time, it could be a place where they can play around a bit more now that they're acclimated to being in VR. Spending time in the Refuge is meant to bring players into Alyx's role in the Resistance and her place in the world. We wanted it to feel like a real stakeout spot, where Alyx had been cooped
does
up
feel
for
like
weeks
that.
or months while planning the heist, doing research on the Combine. The camcorder, snark, and whiteboards are all toys that respond to detailed
I didn't even see
interaction
the whiteboards.
and reward deeper investigation, giving curious players more information about the world of City 17 and what Alyx has been doing in it.
Well, see, if you take the square and combine it with the triangle, then you get math was never my strong subject. I took AP English and Honors English, but math was never my strong suit. I was always a much better reader and writer than I was a mathematician. Right there. What is it? Is it a tower? Like one of the towers? Yeah. Okay. Like I said, my time playing this time around too should be much smoother. Much more enjoyable for both me and all y'all watching. Textures look beautiful. Everything's good. That's in, I'm assuming, Russian. Or maybe that's like what the Combine speak or something. But it looks kind of like Russian or something.
Alyx, are we good?
Yep, they got the reactor.
I'm good.
Easy peasy. I'm headed back to the safe house right now to meet Dad.
Go.
Yeah,
We'll be in
loud.
touch.
Stay safe.
remember this is one of the parts in the original where I was like, "You're ugly," and I think like the textures were missing, but I wasn't sure. If I remember, I'll try to like pull up a screenshot of that video and show you side by side. But that's only if I remember. But yeah, it wasn't great for me. It was still
Two critical pieces of information that we needed players to understand were simple to state, but not so easy to convey. That players were playing as Alyx Vance, not the Gordon Freeman they've played in all prior Half-Life games, and that Alyx is going to speak, unlike Gordon. These probably seem obvious to you now, but until we focused on them, it wasn't obvious to playtesters. Ensuring that everyone realized they were playing as Alyx was something we decided to hit with the biggest hammer we could, and name the product after her. But even with that, we were very careful in Eli's video call to ensure it's reinforced immediately. Olga, the character introduced here, was added to further drive it home by calling out when the player exits the elevator. Olga is the first character the player meets in person, and her dialogue here, and again ahead in the alley, is aimed at driving home the fact that she's conversing with the player, and that the disembodied female voice the player hears is Alyx speaking back. This was harder to convey in Eli's video call, because it already features Russell speaking off-screen, whereas in this scene, there's clearly no one else around in the conversational space other than Olga and the player. Without Olga, we found that, even though they had already spoken to Eli and Russell over the video call, playtesters still didn't feel like they were Alyx.
So playtesters didn't really feel that way initially, I guess. So they had to change up the way the conversation.
When we started Half-Life Alyx, we were very curious to find out how VR would impact our music design. The Half-Life series has always used music sparingly, often leaving the ambient sounds of the world to provide the audio background. But it is a tool we like to use to highlight moments where the world state has changed in some important way. In this case, that something's riled up the Combine. In our early playtests of this scene, without music, but with many of the other visual and audio elements represented, we found some players didn't understand that they should move along, and that others became distracted by the interactive objects in the laundry. We experimented with some very simple quote-unquote action music to communicate the changing of the Combine threat level, as well as the story's intention for Alyx to get to safety, and found that players were less likely to forget their quest and move towards their goal. The music was kept simple and cinematic sounding, to allow it to blend with the purposely complementary background sounds and gently start to normalize the use of music in VR in a familiar way. This success encouraged us to use the same technique in scenes with similar requirements later in the game.
Man, it looks so fucking good. Like I said, especially for me coming just out of Half-Life 2. Like, holy shit, the upgrade from Half-Life 2 to this is amazing. Is it playable not in VR? I don't think it is. I think it's a VR only title. But if you have a VR headset, I'd recommend it. It's great, at least to me. Fucking bird. And it took off. I scared the bird.
Alyx, over here.
Oh.
What is it?
Here you are.
This doesn't seem like a routine sweep. Are you sure everything went okay?
100%.
Good look, you didn't see it. Or maybe he installed it.
Keep your head down and be smart.
What is she, by the way, French? I don't really know. I don't know my accents that well. Damn. Y'all got. Sucks for y'all. Y'all just weren't good enough. Damn.
remainder of this level is designed to continue informing the player about the world they're in, and to support the increase in the Combine's alertness. We also wanted detail to make the city feel alive, something that becomes much harder later on, once the player has a weapon. This was tricky to design due to the challenge we're often faced with, the friction between narrative state and gameplay state. Here, the narrative implies that Alyx should be making her way back to Eli as quickly and quietly as possible. But gameplay-wise, we're at the start of the game, and players are still testing the limits of everything they can see and touch. Unsurprisingly, playtesting showed us that some players would dedicate themselves to following the narrative and quickly move through the area, while others would completely ignore the narrative and explore every nook and
I'm
cranny.
not someone who explores every
While
nook
it's
and cranny,
tempting to
but I
simply
do like
remove
to-
all distractions in
I
an
do like to
attempt
look
to
around, especially
unify
VR.
all players towards following the narrative, it would send the wrong signal
fingers
about the
through the
density of our world and how the game intends to reward players for exploring it. So we spent months refining this section, adding, changing, and removing elements. We tried to find the right level of narrative tension, where players felt like they should be moving along, but not so quickly that they can't stop to tinker with something.
Yeah, I imagine
We
that's
put
pretty
in
difficult to
enough
get a
interactive
balance of.
objects and narrative moments where players were always rewarded for looking around. But we designed all those distractions to end quickly, so we could encourage players to continue moving along.
That's pretty smart. Like this is fun, but as soon as I throw it and it breaks, that's it. And sure, there's a few of them, but you know they all do the same thing, so there's not really a reason to constantly do them all. Oh, that's where I got to go. News worldwide. Markets are in turmoil this week as governments, corporations, and organizations struggle to make sense of the catastrophe environmental conditions, and breakdown in global economics, in global communications, and massive loss of life after the... Okay, I'm not going to read all that, sorry. Unlikely appreciated. Wallace Brain, yeah, I remember Brain. Not a politician on the scene. Portal storm continues. Yeah, sorry, I just don't want to read all that right now. Where the fuck did it go? It like just walked. I think that's it over there. What's over here? Whole lot of nothing is what's over here. Alright. Go back over here then. The final world. Okay. That looks so nice and crisp. Oh my god, you scared the fuck out of me, girl. I don't blame you for that. What? Oh, grab a ladder. I haven't seen another commentary thing. Maybe I've missed one. What the fuck? Oh, one of those things. Since I remember those fucking things. Everything shattered. Yeah. Just because I said so. Like I said, sorry, my neck and shit's brushing up against the back there. That's just something. Oh! I remember this part.
Wait, I just live here.
Probable anti-citizen. Get those hands up!
Wait, don't shoot!
Making a break for it. Oh. No, don't blind me. Oh, Eli.
Didn't steal anything.
I didn't remember they got him.
No one, I didn't see anyone.
Dad!
Wait. No.
Hey, wait, what?
Catch his hands! Or not. Or I can catch a stun stick. Either way I choose. My god.
Where are you taking me? Where's my father? Hello? Damn it, where's my father?
Tell her to stop moving around back there.
No. You should have tied me up. You don't want me to. Oh, they threw a grenade at me. Was that dog? That looks like dog to me. I don't remember if dog's in this game or not. I don't think he is because I feel like I don't remember. Like a big ass robot like that.
In order to limit the possibility of motion sickness that could be induced by moving the player in a vehicle, we initially wrote this scene to have Alyx wake up after the van had already crashed. Players found this underwhelming, however, since the game seemed to be needlessly holding back an exciting moment that they could have experienced for themselves. Addressing this meant that we had to tackle the technical problem of moving the player comfortably in a vehicle. In this van, and in the train at the end of the map, you'll notice that the outside world is only visible through small windows. These outside views are necessary to provide motion parallax, but the small window size ensures that the player's field of view is always dominated by the vehicle interior, which is naturally in the player's own frame of reference. This greatly reduces the occurrence of motion sickness. Aside from the parallax of the outside world, we use animated lighting and careful sound design to produce the effect of riding in a vehicle.
Neat. Alright.
You have been an accident. Take the headset.
Okay, that wasn't dog.
Alyx, you there? You've got to get moving.
Russell? I've been in an accident.
I know! I caused it, so technically not an accident. You've got to get moving.
Wait, where's Dad?
He's fine. Follow the drone.
Oh.
So, Dad's okay, right?
Yeah, well, no. To be honest, he's in huge trouble.
But...
They've still got him. He was in a separate trend.
And you saved me?
Well, yes. I had no way of knowing who was in which van, so... Yes, the result was that I saved you.
Yeah,
do we know where they're taking
for
him?
Whichever van.
Criminal holding. And then, when they realize he's Eli Vance, to Nova Prospect.
God.
But I'm already working on a plan to get him back.
I've been to Nova Prospect before.
You're close to my lab. Keep following the drone. We'll figure out what to do.
I mean, it's in the future at this point, but yeah, Nova Prospect. Although we use antlions. We use antlions to overtake that, so that's why we were able to get to there. It's pretty heavily...
Where the last map was focused on conveying a lot of information about the world state to the player, this map is where we need to start the player's larger quest. That means the player must leave this map with an understanding of what's happened to Eli, and what they're going to do about it. The player also needs to meet Russell, so they have a face behind all the radio dialogue throughout the game. Finally, we need the player to collect the gravity gloves and the pistol and learn how to use them both. This is a daunting list. From experience, we know that if we cram all that into a single scene, players won't be able to remember more than a couple highlights. So this map's purpose is essentially narrative pacing. We need to draw apart the required events, separating them with enough time and space that players could ingest and remember them. At the same time, we're a little under the gun. Playtesting showed us that by now, some players have been playing for 30 minutes, and they're wondering when they're going to see some enemies.
Yeah, I know we don't see enemies for a little bit. The first enemies that I remember seeing is like the grab things from the roof. But that's like after we take the train, I think. Goes somewhere else, so it's going to be a little bit.
One of the first steps the writing team took on this map was to flesh out a scene between Russell and Alyx that covered all the dialogue we needed. Due to the fact the player is meeting Russell for the first time, and that there are a significant number of in-fiction events that Alyx and Russell need to talk about, the scene ended up containing a lot of dialogue. We knew there was no way we could build a scene that long without boring the player, and the most important elements would be lost in the noise. One of the first tools we used to address this was the introduction of Russell's drone. It allowed us to take chunks of the dialogue from that original scene and deliver them throughout the area preceding the scene. This meant the scene itself could skip over the in-fiction preliminaries and get right to the critical goal delivery.
Russell, what did you guys find back there?
Well, that's the crazy thing. I don't know. Just blurry pictures of a building.
The Citadel?
No, something else.
Some beautiful
and whatever it is, they're going to kill anybody who saw it. And anybody who knows anybody who saw it. Which means us and your dad.
Russell, just hang on. I'm almost there.
Actually, that reminds me. I remember that at the end of the game, they're keeping G-Man in here. Did they build... They were trying to maybe build the Citadel to keep him in there, and then we broke him out before that happens? I don't know. The time gets so complicated, obviously, because like they rewrote a lot of shit. I'm covered. I hear walking. Like someone or something walking behind me. Or not. Okay, hang on. Okay, stuck me. I think that would make people motion sick. That's probably why they got rid of that. Oh my god, it's a strider again. Oh, it broke the fucking drone.
Alyx, everything cut out for a second. I lost the headset video feed. Can you see my drone? Is it okay?
It's
Sure, yeah,
it's
I'll be there
okay
in a minute.
a few separate pieces. Just a little busted up, just a little bit. That's so creepy in here. This is... B-32 launch play system. Don't know what that is. Oh, wait, is that like a button I have to push? Oh, yeah.
Alyx, great. Okay, let's.
Oh,
wait.
what's up, bro?
My drone's okay, right?
Nope,
Yeah,
it
it's
exploded.
fine.
I'm fine, by the way.
Right, good. Well, that's the main.
Russell, they've got Dad.
I know. This is bad. They're gonna find out what he knows, and then, yeah, they're gonna kill him.
Oh, God.
But the good news is, we've got something they don't.
Which is?
my plan to get him back.
Great. Let's hear it.
Now, pretty soon they're going to realize that your dad is not going to talk. And when that happens, he's off to have his brain sucked out.
Russell.
Potentially. Maybe not, though. I mean, they could just drill into
Stop.
Oh, yeah, still your dad. Right, well, what they will do is take him by train from here. This is Eli to Nova Prospect.
And if he gets on that train, that's it, right?
Not necessarily. Grab something that represents us.
Kinda. That represents us? Like this garbage can?
Okay, that's you.
I thought you said us.
Well, one of us, me, will have to stay here for this plan to work.
All right, fair enough.
Just outside, there's a second train that also leads out of City 17 through the quarantine zone.
Okay.
Both trains intersect here at Fairview Junction. You take your train, get there before his train, and hack into the controls. That'll let me take over the system. Train comes to a halt, you deal with the Combine situation, and we get your dad back.
Sounds good. Where's the train I'm taking?
Out the back, through the yard. It's decommissioned, but I think I can hack into its controls.
Cool.
Oh, and get yourself a pair of Russells on the way out.
That's my view right there.
Russells?
The gloves, Alex. You know, the gravity gloves. I have a few sets through there. You can calibrate them out by the shed.
Got it.
We can do this, Alex. You got that, didn't you, that I said we could do it? Because we're gonna do it.
Yes,
yeah, we are.
I'm with you every step of the way.
Cool.
Right from our earliest experiments in VR, we learned that players expect a high level of audio fidelity, even from minute interactions, particularly when the sounds are meant to correspond to clearly observable visuals. For instance, in one of our prior games, it may have been acceptable to use a generic sequence of computer key sounds when Russell was typing. In VR, however, we know that a player can observe the animations very closely, and even put their head right next to Russell's keyboard if they choose. In this case, players would notice a lack of one-to-one correspondence between the key press animation and sound. For Half-Life Alyx, we authored a set of individual key press sounds to be driven by animation. For example, as Russell's fingers animate to press a key, one of these key press sounds is played, resulting in precise synchronization of the animation and sound.
I can imagine that's a bitch. Like for me, I love playing video games, but I could never develop. That shit's too much for me. Like, I edit my videos, and even that's a lot for me to do. And I'm very lazy with it.
Russell's laboratory is the first time the player is in the same room as another character, and it highlights one of the main challenges we face when designing choreographed scenes in VR, keeping the player and characters out of each other's space. In previous Half-Life games, we could always forcefully move the player if we really needed them out of the way.
I guess they mean like we can get up
We made several attempts at finding a similar solution in VR, but found that it often made players feel deeply uncomfortable or disoriented. So instead, we designed these spaces to allow for a natural separation between the player and our characters.
Yeah, like I'm
Where
like
natural
3 or 4
separators
feet away
couldn't
from them
exist,
right now.
we had to restrict players from moving into the character's space, removing that limitation as soon as the character had moved out of the way. Another challenge was balancing how often characters respond to player actions while delivering important narrative information. In early experiments, we allowed characters to stop mid-sentence, which allowed them to respond immediately to the player, and then continue on with their dialogue. While technically straightforward, this was incredibly difficult to execute in animation and dialogue without feeling unnatural. The combination of custom reactions necessary to cover the range of possible player interaction, and the resulting return to narrative dialogue, quickly multiplied out of control. Eventually, we settled on a solution where we allowed only a minimum of interactions during the important narrative delivery sections, and a wider range of responses to more complex reactions after the scene has completed. In the case of Russell, we layer subtle head facing and natural eye contact on top of his performance while he is talking with Alyx. Then, after the scene, when he is typing at the computer, he will respond to players trying to touch him or objects being thrown around.
Okay. Gotcha. That's a health thing. Gimme. Uh-huh. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have my fucking something else here. Alright. My health is not great, but I think that's because they tased me and I was in a car accident. Oh yeah, one thing I was saying earlier is that someone told me that one of the designers, I think, from either Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1 or whatever, was also a designer on either Dishonored or Dishonored 2, I think. And I could definitely see that.
Alright, you know how this goes. There should be a bunch of junk down there. Aim at something with your hand open. Yep, you're tethered. Make a grip.
One frustration players may encounter in VR is having to physically bend down or reach out for objects in the virtual world, especially if they have limited real-world space.
Yeah, I have limited
space. A common
space.
solution for this is to provide a way to bring objects to the player instead of forcing the player to go to them.
They did a great job with that.
We knew this would be an important feature in Half-Life Alyx, with its sprawling levels and players' desire to explore every corner of the world. We didn't want this mechanic to feel too gamey or magical, so we decided to integrate it into the fiction of the game by making it a feature of the gravity gloves, which are a natural precursor to the gravity gun of Half-Life 2.
Wow.
This allowed us to present the mechanic as a real physical action that's enabled by a piece of in-fiction technology. To emphasize the physicality that is unique to the medium of VR, we used a physical gesture to activate the pull instead of a button press, and then required the player to actually catch the object instead of automatically attaching it to the hand. This made the mechanic feel more natural and rooted in the fiction of the game's universe, while allowing the player to feel powerful and accomplished.
Just point at something with your hand to target it. Yep, you're tethered. Now close your hand. Just like that. Try again. Boom. Yep. One more time. That's it. Perfect. We're done. Oh, wait. I almost forgot. Alex, up here. You're gonna need a gun.
Give me.
Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now.
Russell, you fucking idiot.
When a player pulls an object with the gravity gloves, we use the game's physics engine to apply a launch force to that object with a trajectory that is partially influenced by the direction of the player's pull gesture. We set the object's launch velocity to result in a standard flight time from pull to catch, so the player can develop a rhythm that eventually becomes automatic. We want the object to arrive at the hand as reliably as possible, so after the initial launch, we continually apply small impulse forces along the trajectory, represented by the white arrows. Those impulses help counter gravity and compensate for collisions with obstacles along the way, while continuously steering the object toward the hand, which is itself a moving target. A generous catch range and subtle haptic feedback when the object enters that range virtually guarantees that it will end up in the player's hand every time, even if their attention is focused elsewhere. One other benefit of implementing this with physics is that we didn't need to do custom handling for an object's size, mass, or inertia, and it automatically compensated for the non-standard gravity that players encounter inside the vault at the end of the game.
Right, heading back to the con room.
Okay, cool. I'm guessing it won't show me that. Yeah, it doesn't show me that anymore. That was just for that over commentary.
Oh, you took care of that lock then. Good, great.
I got it.
Did have the key for it, but should have given you that. That's on me.
Hell yeah. One of the first things I want to get, I remember that was really useful, is the laser sight. The laser sight that attaches to the side of the gun. That one was so good to have. So that's one of the first things I want to get. But I need to be on the lookout for resin.
Alright, here we go. Next stop, Fairview Junction.
Thanks, Russell.
And good luck, Alex. Goodbye.
Well, goodbye.
Obviously, just to let you know, I am still here, though.
I know.
Yes, I know. I'll probably go until I get past the grab things, and I'll probably stop there. Probably, I'll see.
Hello, Alex? We might have a problem. Probably nothing to worry about, but...
Oh dear.
Did the train stop? It stopped,
Yes.
didn't it?
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
what happened?
It's jammed. When the Combine shut down the quarantine zone, they must have tightened security.
Which means?
Yeah, you're nowhere near Fairview Junction. You're just outside the QZ. And this is as far as we get by train.
Then I'm headed on foot.
Good. I'll see if I can get you in some other way.
I don't know what that is, but it looks good. Although I don't drink, that's alcohol. I'm not like against alcohol or anything. I don't like the taste of it. I'm not a big drinker. I'll drink sometimes with friends and stuff, but for the most part, I'm not a drinker.
I got a dead zombie here. I thought the Combine sealed up the QZ.
Oh my god, that looks
This one must have squirted out. I've heard they've had trouble with barnacle spores outside the containment area, but not about fellas like this.
Probably not a one-off then.
I doubt it.
Let's see if I go down. I cannot.
Even in our earliest experiments in bringing Half-Life to VR, we found that players enjoyed exploring every nook and cranny of the environment. With the increased fidelity of VR, players not only expected to be able to interact with a vast array of objects, but they also had a strong desire to find something useful from time to time. This was so universal among testers that in addition to more searchable locations and interactive objects, we added a new resource, resin. Level designers could place this new resource in fun and interesting locations that weren't tied to game progression, rewarding players wider-ranging exploration. We also tied this new resource to a longer-term goal in the form of weapon upgrades, further motivating players to explore the environment.
The resin is pretty
Deep
nice
scavenger
to
hunts
collect.
and keen observation would result in more resin to spend as a reward.
Another depth thing in there.
Huh. I think I can reroute this with my multi-tool.
Your what?
It's a tool with multiple functions. So,
I remember
you
the
know,
multi-tool.
multi-tool.
Owner puzzles.
Internally, we refer to this type of puzzle as a toner puzzle, due to its similarity to a real-world cable toner tool that can be used to locate electrical wires in walls. The toner mechanic was conceived as a tool for designers to craft player experiences around knowing that the player had to put their head and hands in specific locations. The initial design merely required the player to use their multi-tool to push a ball of energy along a path, similar to a child's bead maze toy. While this simple design was successful at getting the player to put their head and hands in particular locations, the lack of branching meant that the player wasn't required to make any choices, nor was there any possibility of negative consequences. To address these issues, we added the rotating junction elements, which allowed for branching paths and became the player's primary means of interacting with toner puzzles. While the toner puzzles ramp up in complexity throughout the game, this first toner puzzle is designed to use a minimal number of elements to introduce players to the key ideas that power flows through wires, power can be rerouted by rotating junctions, and power has an effect on the physical world, such as turning on lights and opening gates. The sparking electrical outlet that branches down toward the floor is not strictly necessary for this simple puzzle, but it was added here to expose players to its behavior, since it was causing confusion in later puzzles when players were seeing it for the first time in more complex configurations.
Yeah, I remember the Jeff level was probably my favorite one. The Jeff level was awesome. I remember that. But that one, you had to like do this while also dealing with Jeff. It was like, holy shit. I think his name was Jeff.
Alex, that thing's incredible. You need an incredible brand name. Something that really sells it.
Who am I going to sell it to?
The Combine's not going to be here forever. You should be thinking about the future, Alex.
Well, how about I call it the Alyx?
It's a little derivative of the Russells, but yeah, provisionally, sure.
Works.
The Alyx.
Yeah, the Alyx.
I remember someone told me in a comment too, I think it was these, that these are probably the things where when Alex got stabbed by the hunter in Half-Life 2, and we went with the Vortigaunt to go get something. I think it was this, like from the Hive. One of these are probably what they are, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, a health station.
Russell, the Combine use these. Are they safe for people?
Yeah, I use them all the time.
Yeah, that shit looks like it hurts.
Hey, you were right. These are great.
Can I put these in the Russells? I don't even know if I have that capability yet. Ooh. Oh, let's see if there's anything else I can collect. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, pick it up there. I do want to look around a decent bit though to try and find stuff. Because especially something on the hard difficulty, I want to try and be pretty well prepared. Come here. Nothing. Whole lot of nothing. I'm assuming. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Lighting.
From our earliest experiments in VR, we realized how critical high-quality, high-density lighting was to conveying a sense of realism. In game development, any technology choice involves trade-offs between quality, runtime performance, and development time. For Half-Life Alyx, we chose a high-quality, high-performance light mapping solution which required a significant amount of offline preprocessing. We performed the light map preprocessing using a render farm, which could take several hours for a single map at the highest quality, and we put a lot of effort into mitigating the cost of that high iteration time for designers on the team. Specifically, we implemented a real-time approximation to the final lighting result, which allowed designers to light scenes in real time with confidence that the high-performance light maps would match their intent. Most lights in Half-Life Alyx are baked into a single term that describes distance falloff and shadowing, allowing us to change the brightness and color of lights in real time at no cost. This encoding also allows us to apply shadows from dynamic props and characters without having to render any static geometry.
I don't know
into
what half
shadow
that
maps.
means, but
our light
cool
maps store directional information using the popular ambient highlight direction encoding, an improvement over Valve's own radiosity normal mapping technique pioneered in Half-Life 2. This new light map encoding ensures that the bumpy surfaces can appear bumpy even when not under direct light. This blinking light source provides a good illustration of this technique, as you can perceive the surface detail even during times the light source is off.
So I didn't understand half that, but it's still cool to hear. Basically, is he just saying basically they use ray tracing? I don't understand ray tracing all that much, but I'm pretty sure it basically means that like it's like real-time lighting that's coming in from like a source, but it's... Oh, my Quest 2's battery's low. Well, I might actually have to end it here. I'll listen to this and I think I'll end it.
Barnacles, while an iconic Half-Life creature, presented some interesting VR-specific challenges. While their tongue is intended to trap hasty or unobservant players, those caught by them often didn't realize what was happening. They would become disoriented or even motion sick as the barnacle lifted them up to be eaten. These unfortunate players almost universally died and failed to learn what was happening even after multiple encounters. To address this issue, we created the tongue as a particle system. This allowed us to both physically simulate it as well as reliably position it for maximum visibility. If a player does get grabbed by a barnacle, the tongue always wraps right in front of their face, no matter which direction they try to look. This makes the tongue almost impossible to miss and visually guides the player's eyes up to the location of the barnacle, so they know where to shoot to free themselves. These fixation visuals that kick in as the player is being lifted not only serve to communicate the damage the player is taking, but they also help to reduce motion sickness by narrowing the player's field of view. These changes, combined with sound effects and other visuals like seeing stars and blacking out, eliminate confusion for players and enabled us to bring this classic enemy into the world of Half-Life Alyx.
So let me see if I can see what they're talking about with the tongue. Oh yeah, okay. That definitely good.
Oh, they're gross. 3 mags left.
Let me go here real quick. Yeah, I got a message saying my quest 2 is low. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it here because it didn't used to run low before because I was running a wired connection, but now I'm using the Airlink just because it makes it easier. But this time I'm gonna go ahead and end it here.
Oh, okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know how much of this you'll even see because I had some trouble. Like my PC crashed. So I still have the MKV file. Hopefully I can recover some shit and see how it goes. But don't even know if you'll see this or not. I might just have to re-record the whole first section of the game if this doesn't go right. But that's okay. I like the game. I'll just skim through it and not go through the developer commentary this time around. But I'll see. Hopefully I don't have to do that. But I'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. I really enjoy this game. It's a ton of fun. It also looks way better. My experience is way better this time around. So, it's just a lot of fun. If you're new to this channel, I'm using this to I'm using this channel to just kind of play games I never got the chance to play, whether it be because I didn't have the time or the money or the interest when I was younger, as well as games like this that I just already played and want to play again, whether it be on the channel or not. And games that I'm excited for in the future. So, and just post it on the YouTube, see who does or doesn't like it, and share my experiences with y'all. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Have a great day, and yeah, see ya.